The Truck Series countdown has begun. Just 7 races to go, and we've already had 7 different winners so far this season. 6 wins for the Bowtie Brigade, best among the manufacturers, and points leader Mike Bliss leads the way after yet another victory last time out in Nashville.
Tonight, he starts from the outside pole in a truck that he thinks is jinxed. In fact, he wanted to put a for sale sign on it after his performance at Loudon. But the one thing that Mike does want to do tonight is leave as the point leader. Why? Well, history proves that whoever leads the points at the completion of the Richmond race, well, they go on to win the championship.
5 runner-up finishes and 5 incidents for the 2 trucks. Will Jason Leffler and the Ultra Bad Boys ever make it to victory lane?
Jason Leffler crashed his primary truck in practice, but he rebounded by winning his 8th pole of the year. We weren't quite good enough are the 5 words that he's been saying an awful lot throughout the course of this season. But tonight, Jason Leffler hopes to change that sentence into 5 other words and say, I finally won in trucks.
4 wins this season for Terry Cook. He's carried the torch for Ford and has his sights set on the coveted truck title.
Gateway, Milwaukee, Loudon, and IRP. Those are the 4 tracks that Cook had those big wins at. So let's do this. Let's take the bankings of turns 1 and 2 at Gateway. How about that backstretch at Milwaukee? Toss in the tire compound of Loudon. Put it all under the lights at IRP. And what do you get? Cook winning Richmond.
3 different winners for Dodge. Presley, Musgrave, and Gahn are trying to return the Ram to championship form.
Ted Musgrave is 3rd in the chase for the championship, and tonight his Mopar Dodge lines up 3rd on the grid. Ted has 3 things on his mind: winning tonight at Richmond, capturing another manufacturer's title for Dodge, and chasing that elusive championship for Ultra Motorsports. So far this year, he's won twice at Darlington and Dover, and tonight he hopes to change that to a number 3.
2 exciting short tracks left in this 2002 season, beginning with tonight, where you're guaranteed 1 finish to remember.
Harvick on the inside, final lap, he wants it. Can he get it? Here comes Harvick. There's Sprague. Will there be contact? Harvick turns left to the inside. Out of turn 4, can he get there? They are side by side, and Sprague will get it by 6 feet.
How about that? What a finish.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents NASCAR. Tonight, under the lights of Richmond International Raceway, we proudly present coverage of the 8th annual Craftsman Truck Series, Virginia is for Lovers 200. With just 7 events remaining in the Craftsman Truck Series season, 22 drivers can still mathematically win the series title, but realistically, our champion should come from among this group here in the top 10. Mike Bliss holds a slim 34-point lead over Terry Cook, and the top 5 are separated by a mere 100 points. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Busch Series and Winston Cup veteran Phil Parsons. Glad to have you with us here at Richmond. And, Phil, they call this place the action track for good reason, because last year our finish in this race was the 5th closest in series history. Just 6 100ths of a second separating Jack Sprague from Kevin Harvick at the finish. In fact, there were 3 lead changes among 3 different drivers in the final 5 laps. We love that kind of action. The fans at home love it. How do the drivers feel?
Well, Doc, I think that's why you've got guys like Harvick, Hamilton, Schrader, Stacy Compton, and a guy, Tony Stewart, that hasn't raced a truck in 6 years, that want to be in this race. They sit home and watch these races. They sit in their motorhomes this weekend and watch the race, and they want to be a part of this action at Richmond.
2 grooves to pass, lots of room, so you can actually go around someone here without touching them, but don't bet on it, right?
This is just like the throwback to the old-time racing of NASCAR, the old grassroots. You can beat and bang here, and that's what these guys love. They don't get enough short tracks anymore. They love to beat and bang, and you can do it here at Richmond.
Short tracks can yield short tempers, and that can mean short nights for some of these competitors. We'll take a look at the starting grid and wave the green flag here at Richmond International Raceway when we come back. Stay with us. Coverage of exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from Richmond International Raceway is being brought to you by the Flame Broiled Whopper from Burger King, America's favorite burger. At BK, you've got it. by Dead to Rights from Namco. And by the 4,000 CarQuest auto parts stores across North America, you'll find it at CarQuest. As we take a look at our starting grid, the top 6 drivers broke the old track record set back in 1997 by Ron Hornaday. And the 8th different pole sitter in as many events here will be Jason Leffler, who picked up his 8th pole of the year. And beside him, Mike Bliss, who has not qualified out of the top 5 since June 5th of this year. Row 2, Ted Musgrave, the Mopar Dodge. Alongside him, Rick Crawford coming off his best run of the year, 2nd at Nashville 3 weeks ago. Back in row 3, 4-time winner Terry Cook in the Power Stroke Diesel Ford. And Kevin Harvick makes his 4th start of the year, still looking for that coveted first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series victory. How about Bobby Hamilton making his 2nd start of the year in the Square D Dodge? And beside him, last year's pole sitter here, Dennis Setzer, the Axion Computer Associates Capital One Chevrolet. Row 5 is David Starr in the Spears Manufacturing Chevy, and Stacy Compton, a 2-time winner in Truck Series competition, making his 1st start of the year in the Duckhead Footwear Dodge.
2-time winner this year, Robert Presley, starts 11th in the Dickies Dodge. Australian Ed McClark in the Petty Driving Experience Dodge starts 15th. 16th, Travis Quaffle, winner at Memphis in the Cat Rental Store Chevy. And starting 25th, 3-time Winston Cup winner here at Richmond, Tony Stewart in the Monaco Coach Chevy.
And look at the remainder of our starters. Morgan Shepard, the veteran in Winston Cup. Barry Bodine, son of Jeffrey Bodine. Good to have Brian Sockwell back making his 3rd start of the year. Brian Ross had a great run at IRP. Had trouble early today in practice with the transmission. Watch for him. How about our leading Rookie of the Year contender, Brendan Gaughan, back in 30th spot. Coy Gibbs, 31st. Jason Small, Porton Gahill, Kuhn, and Jody Lavender. Those last 2 making their very first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. Take a look at our race description. 3/4 mile D-shaped oval. We have 200 laps, 150 miles. It's banked 14 degrees here at Richmond International Raceway. Front straightaway 8 degrees. Backstretch essentially flat. And the purse over $381,000. And by the way, the race record, Bob Keselowski, who won here back in 1997 and is now the truck owner for Terry Cook.
And crew chief for Terry Cook.
We'll take a look at the manufacturer's point standings. Take a look. Chevrolet has won the most events, but they have led the fewest laps. Figure that one out, folks. And Dodge, by virtue of Jason Leffler's 8th pole of the year, has the most poles, 10 overall poles. Dodge drivers have led the most laps. And, of course, Ford has 4 wins, all 4 of those coming in the Power Stroke Diesel Ford for Terry Cook, as well as the 3 poles. And Cook, by the way, has led more laps than any other driver in the entire series this year.
He's had an awesome year, just a terrific year for Terry Cook and the Keselowski Power Stroke team.
I'm Jerry Punch, along with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, Mamie East, and we're going to have a very special guest join us here momentarily in the booth as we call the exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Virginia is for Lovers 200 from Richmond here tonight. There's a recall of last year's event. 7 lead changes among 5 different drivers, including 3 in the final 5 laps. Getting set for the green. Leads them off of turn 2. Everyone makes it through that very tight 1st and 2nd turn area, up the back straightaway very quickly. There's Harvick in the 6th, Bliss, the points leader, in the 16. And Crawford, Rick Crawford, quickly taking 2nd spot, but Leffler pulling away, Phil.
Doc, these guys did not get a happy hour. They were all set for happy hour, but qualifying for the Truck Series and Busch Series took so long that they had to cancel happy hour. So these guys have not been in race trim on this racetrack.
Big weekend for NASCAR here at Richmond. NASCAR Craftsman Trucks tonight, Busch Series tomorrow night, and of course on Saturday night, the NASCAR Winston Cup Monte Carlo 400. So this is the first of a triple header NASCAR action, so that's why it's very crowded here in this weekend. And Busch qualifying preempted the happy hour for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Great side-by-side action. David Starr, the 75 truck. Dennis Setzer on the outside in the 46 truck. We're going to see a lot of side-by-side action tonight, Doc.
Take a look back at the 18. Robert Presley trying to make a move. That's Presley behind the 17 of Stacy Compton. If you're familiar with that paint job on the 17, that is the truck that and the team that Darrell Waltrip drove for at Martinsville, Virginia early in the year.
And IRP finished 6th at IRP in that very truck.
Outstanding job for old DW, driving for Jim Harris and Mark Melling. And now Stacy Compton resumes that ride for the run here at Richmond.
Stacy's another guy doing double duty. He'll run the Busch race tomorrow night here in the Kingsford car.
Good action here early on. Robert Presley trying to get by. A pair of Dodges going at it. Stacy, a two-time winner in Truck Series competition, won at Portland back in April of '98, also Heartland Park in August of that year.
Robert got a great run off turn 4, drove underneath. Stacy coming off the corner, was able to beat him down down the very long front straightaway. Even though it's curved, it's wide open down that front straightaway.
And that will change the top 10 as Robert Presley enters the top 10. And here's Tony Stewart making only his second start in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition. He goes by, we have trouble, and the 8 truck Bill Lester has had trouble. Lester second in the series point standings, in Rookie of the Year standings, I should say, and Lester in the Bobby Hamilton Racing owned Dodge has sustained some damage.
Hard contact with the outside wall there for Bill Lester. What a tough break. Been very, very consistent, getting better each and every week, but hard contact with the outside wall.
There's the Amerisweets machine for Jerry Hill. See if we can see what happened to the 8 truck here, left side of your screen.
John Wood on the inside, and the 50 truck makes some contact with Bill Lester. Bill came down the racetrack, made some contact with John Wood, and hard into the wall. That's the worst spot you can have trouble, is going in the corner. That's why, obviously, when you're going your fastest and you have the least amount of control of these trucks, and around he went and made hard contact.
Heavy contact, heavy damage for a Rookie of the Year contender, Bill Lester. We'll find out how bad it is when we come back to Richmond in just a moment. The trucks at Richmond have had their share of interesting finishes. In 1996, the race was rain shortened because of Hurricane Fran. The winner was none other than the inaugural champion himself, Mike Skinner. And now we welcome the 1996 winner and inaugural NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, Mike Skinner, our booth. Mike, thanks for joining us tonight.
How you guys doing tonight?
We are doing great. We are working caution here for the first time, and I'd hate to bring you on board and have you analyze something right away here with us, but we had an incident here on lap 7 involving Bill Lester and John Wood.
I'll tell you, it looked to me that, you know, it's awful early in the race, and Bill was coming down the racetrack. He's got to get in the corner there, and John, he's a young, aggressive driver. He's didn't have the qualifying run that he probably wanted, and he should have used that brake pedal a little bit more this early in the race. That was kind of a sticking the nose in there pretty hard, but you know, it's a bad deal for Bill Lester. It's awful early in the race to be racing that hard.
Is that a move, you two drivers, is that a move that John Wood, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, with a little more experience, probably would have backed out this early in the race and maybe not stuck it in there, you think?
I think so. I think I know that my first year in Winston Cup, I stuck that nose in there and I tore up a bunch of race cars. And you're used to doing it in the truck series, and everybody give way to us because we had a fast truck. You know, I just think that as you go along, you get a little more experience. You got to know that you got to keep the fenders on these things. And that right front fender, he might want to have him tack a little bit later in the race.
Well, let's check in the Navy pit on John Wood, where Ray Dunlap's standing by, right?
Well, guys, I think a little bit of it is just frustration because they had a poor qualifying effort. John wants to make up as much as he can. He came on the radio and said he felt like his right front tire might be going down, but spotter Rich Reichenbach said, no, it's okay, stay out there and just keep working hard.
Indeed he will. And speaking of working hard, here's Rick Crawford, got a good jump on the restart. He pulled it within a truck length of Jason Leffler. They're not going to let him get away like he did at the beginning of this race.
He had a great jump at the beginning of the racetrack, but you know, John Wood was a top 10 truck in practice. He was the first truck out, and a lot of times the racetrack, after it sits after Busch practice, that was right before Western Truck Series qualifying, the racetrack gets a little bit greasy, and I think that's what happened to Johnny. Qualified 23rd.
All right, battle here for 6th position. Mike Bliss, the points leader, trying to hold off the charge of the Square D Dodge of Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton will have the spot coming out of turn 4. And now he might have opened the door for the 75. No, Bliss will slam it right entering turn 1.
It was open, but it got shut pretty quick there by Mike Bliss.
That's some good experience right there. You know, you see the 75 truck there, David Starr. He backed off that thing. He didn't stick the nose in there where it didn't go. If his truck's good enough, he'll pass him later on.
And we started a moment ago to talk about Tony Stewart driving this truck for Andy Petrie Racing. Tony making only his second ever career start in NASCAR's Craftsman trucks. He made his first start in his hometown of Indianapolis, right outside of Indianapolis at IRP. Old tell you more about that later. Good to have Tony on board. Didn't qualify as well as he would like, but I've got to believe he would race better because of his experience.
Well, without a doubt, Tony Stewart is. I talked to Tony right before the race. He said, hey, I've got a good truck. We just got messed up. We didn't really get a simulated qualifying run in. Had to kind of guess at the setup. We got a little bit too loose. But he said, I really think I have a good race truck. And he's already gained 10 spots.
Yeah, and, you know, having to take all the lip from Andy Petrie because of his qualifying run in Martinsville in the same truck. You know, he's going to feel a little heat from the car owner. And, you know, Andy's a good race driver. It's really neat that he step out of the truck and let Tony have an opportunity in there and have a chance to win.
And that's going to be a huge factor. Andy qualified this truck, by the way, third at Martinsville. And Andy led 13 laps in this truck at IRP, so certainly the gauntlet's been thrown down for Tony Stewart.
Tony's got some pressure on him tonight.
There you look and see where Tony started back in the pack. The Monaco Coach Corporation Chevrolet. The 15-time Winston Cup winner. Tony Stewart, who has 3 wins this year, including here at Richmond back in the spring.
Got a lot of pressure right now from Travis Quaffle. Travis working the inside of Tony. It's really nice to see that the outside group is really pretty much already in, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, Tony's trying to work it pretty hard, and it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell right now whether his truck is tight and he's driving through the push and getting a little loose late exit.
Speaking of driving through, how about Bobby Hamilton? My heavens, Hamilton not wasting any time. He makes a charge by Terry Cook, and also here is Bliss. Mike Bliss trying to take the spot away.
Situation like you mentioned earlier, he opened the door for him, and Mike Bliss was able to take advantage. Drive to the inside of Terry Cook. Terry looks back on the inside, but not going to be able to do it. Stays right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Now, these two guys are 1-2 in the points. Bliss, the points leader, and then right behind him, just 34 points back, is Terry Cook in the 29. So they're looking at the big picture here.
I'll tell you, Terry Cook is probably the most improved driver I've seen come along in a long time. I know when he first started in the Truck Series, we could just about make bets on how many times he was going to bring the caution out in one race, and now he's up there fighting for the championship. I just really, my hat's off to him. He's done a heck of a job in this series.
Why don't we check in these championship contenders' pits? First, let's check in the Bliss pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, Ted Musgrave had a little contact with Bliss on the very first lap down in turn number 1, and Mike got out of the groove a little bit. He said his tire pressures weren't up yet, so that's why he didn't have a real good start. But now he's complaining that his truck is a little bit loose coming off turn 4. So they're going to try to do a little chassis work for him on the first stop, see if they can make it better later. Now let's check in the 29 pit with Amy.
Well, Ray, it seems to be just the opposite in that 29 Power Stroke diesel Ford. Terry Cook said the truck started off well, but instantly it's become a little tight in the center, and that's what enabled the 4 and the 16 to get up and underneath him and complete the pass. Terry and the team went to the Ford proving grounds last week and worked a lot on race setup. Again, they didn't get to try any of that with no happy hour, so they're thinking about trying some of that their first time down pit lane.
And Amy, Terry's got his favorite ride here, Droopy Dog. 3 of the 4 wins he has this year have come in this truck. He won in Milwaukee, New Hampshire, IRP, but as you said, he's struggling here early on at Richmond tonight. Back with more action from Richmond International Raceway in just a moment. When the lights come on in Richmond, the NASCAR stars prepare to shine. Could one of these familiar faces be crowned king of the Craftsman trucks here tonight? And we got some special guests. Some of the Winston Cup stars coming to play here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playground at Richmond International Raceway. Doing a pretty good job. We got Kevin Harvick being shown back in 3rd spot. Bobby Hamilton up to 5th. The 17 truck of Compton to 11th. And how about Tony Stewart all the way from 25th up to 15th? And Ken Schrader being shown in 17th spot in the Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet. And we've got a little bit of an interesting story developing with our lead truck here, Jason Leffler.
And Jason's led every lap. Watch, he pulled up on the 5 truck here. Well, made some pretty good contact going in the corner. Look at the quarter panel on the 5 truck right there.
He's got an awfully good truck. He wants to take care of that thing, keep the nose on it. Needs to have a lot of patience with it right now.
Indeed. Let's check in their pits on a damage update with Ray.
Well, Jerry, he said that it doesn't seem to have affected the truck any, and Timmy Cahoot told him it's just the screen work that crashed in there, so they really aren't too concerned with that. But they did have one other problem earlier today. They had a loose ground wire in their first truck that they had here today, and then they just thought it was an engine problem, but they found out that wasn't it. They got that thing fixed. Then he went out and crashed that truck, and they had to bring out the backup. So Leffler's saying this truck's running pretty good, though, and he's very happy. Amy?
Well, Ray, another truck that was damaged was the 8 of Bill Lester. Bill, we saw the replay. It looked like the 50 of John Wood got into you. What was your perspective of the crash?
Well, Amy, all I can really tell you is that I was going into turn 3, and, you know, before my spotter could even say anything, I was getting hit in the left rear. I understand it was the 50. I'm not sure what he was thinking about. I thought this was going to be a 200-mile, 150-lap race. And, I don't know if this is what's called being paying your dues as a rookie or what, but, I'm really disappointed. The guys at Bobby Hamilton Racing and Dodge gave me a really nice truck, and I really wanted to reward it with a good finish.
All right, Bill, we'll get him next weekend.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right, you guys, and he's talking about paying those dues, and the team did do a good job. That truck was crashed at IRP. They let it sit. They rebuilt it over our 3-week break, brought it here to Richmond, and unfortunately, it's going to go home crashed.
And a tough break for Bill Lester, who will not say anything bad about anybody. And that's about as upset as you'll ever see him. Very frustrated because he wanted just to have a chance and didn't get one after just 7 laps. He has had to park it here in the garage area.
I tell you, it'll be a great race next week for Bill Lester at Texas. That's Bill's kind of racetrack.
That's where his best finish came early in the year, 11th at Texas. Now, how about Kevin Harvick? We told you about the great finish we had here last year where Harvick came and ran, and those final 5 laps were as good as I've seen anywhere. Sprague dominates the race. Harvick takes the lead with 4 laps to go. Musgrave goes by both of them. Sprague retakes it. They battle side by side, and you saw the finish a moment ago. 62/100ths of a second. Harvick finishes behind Jack Sprague, and Harvick said, I'm still going to get one of these, and maybe it'll come tonight.
Harvick said that was the most fun he'd ever had in a race vehicle in a long, long time. He had a ball.
Truck racing's a lot of fun. I can vouch for that, I'll tell you. Happy Harvick there. It looked like at the start of the race he was just really trying to keep the tires on the truck, and I think he's got a good truck. He's running just fast enough to keep himself in contention to win.
We told you Kevin Harvick is making his 74th career start tonight. He has never won. He's won in Busch Series competition. He's won in Winston Cup 3 times. Take a look. He's finished 2nd here in NASCAR Craftsman Trucks 3 times in 1999, and of course this race a year ago in Richmond.
Doc, if you add all those differentials up, it's just barely over 2 seconds that's kept him from having 4 wins.
Unbelievable. He came here and was so competitive, but yet did not win. And that's what sort of stuck in his craw. So I'm going to keep coming back until I win. And then I made this stay because I love racing here. Let's check in his pitch with Ray.
Well, Jerry, earlier today I asked Kevin what the rest of his schedule was going to be for 2002, and he said, tonight's my last truck race unless we get a sponsor. He said, but I really do want to win. He said, maybe I'll run another one. I'm not sure. And I said, I have a feeling you're going to run till you win. He said, I think you got it.
When you talk to him away from the racetrack, that really bothers him, the fact that he has been successful in Busch and Cup, but he has not won here. Plus, he has such a great time here. He and his wife, Delana, put this team together, and they've got Ed Barrier and a great crew up there in Winston-Salem where they have this operation based. Certainly, he would like to run some more next year if he can get a sponsor to run part-time. In fact, we're hearing we may have a handful of Winston Cup drivers run an intermittent schedule in 2003.
That would be awesome. I tell you, as we talked about earlier to open the show, these guys love running these truck races here. They're so much fun. Now we've got a great battle for the lead. That's Jason Leffler's on board right there, the Team ASA CarQuest truck. Rick Crawford right on his bumper, trying to get on the inside of him.
I'll tell you, if Rick gets under there, I'll guarantee you Mr. Harvick is going to ride with him if he waits that long.
And Harvick's trying to go underneath Crawford. Here's a battle for 2nd spot. Lots of traffic. And Crawford is stuck behind Randy McDonald. Will Harvick be able to use the moving pick up the backstretch? Leffler picking his way through traffic. There's McDonald, the 72 truck. Not much room up high. And again, Harvick has the inside, and that will shove Crawford up out of the group. Here comes Crawford roaring back.
I don't know if we want to make it 3 wide or not. Tony just cleared him just in time to get down in turn number 1.
And Ted Musgrave says, I'm going to get up here and play with these guys a little bit, too. They're having way too much fun. Here comes Rick Crawford coming back. Rick says, I'm not giving up that easy.
That's that's the beautiful part about Richmond. You can race two abreast in the corners all night long, and man, look, he just got back by him. Awesome racetrack.
Mike Skinner, when you mention the word Richmond to a race driver, whether it's Cup, Busch, or Truck, they automatically smile. They love this place.
This place is awesome. And I'll tell you, if you're a race fan, this place in Bristol, there's a couple of these shorter tracks that just really a great place for a race fan to watch a race.
I'm thrilled to be here, and hopefully you are too, enjoying NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from the action track, Richmond International Raceway. Back in a moment. Next week, the NASCAR Craftsman trucks return under the lights to Texas Motor Speedway. And some of our point leaders are hoping for better luck this time in the Lone Star State. Mike Bliss, Terry Cook, and Jason Leffler all had a night they would rather forget. And Brendan Gaughan hopes that Friday the 13th will be lucky for him as he looks to score win number 2. Don't miss it next Friday night, 11:30 p.m. right here on ESPN2. And that's another track I love going to, Texas Motor Speedway.
Awesome racetrack, terrific smooth surface, virtually flat out all the way around.
Great hospitality, Eddie Gossett and company down there, and we'll have a great one coming your way next Friday night right here on ESPN2. There is Jason Leffler, who was our pole sitter, has led all 53 laps thus far. Rick Crawford coming off his career, or his best finish of the year, I should say, second at Nashville 3 weeks ago. In the number 14, there is Kevin Harvick.
Kevin started 6th up to 3rd. Won Mr. Cup win this year.
And he wiggles a little bit. Here comes the Mopar Dodge of Ted Musgrave, 2-time winner this year. Musgrave winning at Darlington and Dover. Now 3rd in the point standings. And right behind him in 5th spot, Phil Parsons, our points leader.
Mike Bliss, again, this is the truck that they wanted to put a for sale sign on at Loudon, but doing a pretty good job right now.
They had battery problems at Memphis. It lost a cylinder at New Hampshire. Mike said, this thing's jinxed. Sell this thing. Get rid of it. And here they are at Richmond with it again. Bobby Hamilton having a good run in the Square D Dodge, making only his 2nd start this year. He ran at Indianapolis Raceway Park, but having a good run tonight, being shown in 6th spot.
Terry Cook, Power Stroke Ford, running second, 4 wins this season. Had a terrific season, a breakout season for Terry Cook and the K Automotive team.
And speaking of having a pretty good year, Dennis Setzer set a record by winning from 33rd starting spot in this very truck, the Axiom Capital One Chevrolet at Martinsville early in the year. Came from the back of the pack to win, and also this truck ran very well, had a 5th place finish at Memphis.
Good side-by-side racing right here. David Starr on the inside, Stacy Compton, the 17 truck on the outside. Good battle for the 9th position.
And here again, if you just joined our coverage, there was no happy hour practice session. Final practice, they call it what they call happy hour here in NASCAR because of some problems, delays on the racetrack with Busch Series qualifying. So a lot of these guys are just now trying to sort these trucks out. And Mike, when you don't have happy hour, Mike Skinner, how tough is it for a driver to go, whoops, hold on, we're going to ask how tough it is. We're going to see how tough it is for Scott Kuhn as he will bring out caution for the 2nd time tonight here on lap number 59.
Scott made hard contact with the outside wall. You see the right side damage, the right front wheel's not turning. It's obviously flat, but we don't know if that's what caused the wreck or it went flat after the wreck. But hard damage for Scott.
Scott driving for Bobby Wellman. Rick Ware actually is the owner of note on the entry, but Bobby Wellman built this truck. Scott is a Petty Enterprise employee, former crew member with late Adam Petty. Has the Vehicare on the side of the machine, Royal Velvet Bed and Bath, and also the Victory Junction game.
Something obviously broke on the truck. He was coming off the corner there and made hard contact with the outside wall. Don't know if the right front tire went down or some suspension broke or whatever, but made hard contact.
As that, you see that the pits are closed as they are waving the red flag with the yellow cross, and now they wave the green flag, indicating the pits are open. And now we would expect to see leaders come in for their first pit stop of the day, and maybe pretty close on fuel here. Here they come, 45 miles an hour as Jason Leffler leads them down. But let's check into Ted Musgrave pit first with Amy.
Well, Jerry, Ted Musgrave told crew chief Gene Meade that the front was simply too stiff, that it was chattering a lot there on this first green flag run here at Richmond. Again, remembering no happy hour, so they're going to make some adjustments They're also going to take one piece of tape off and put 2 rounds in the right rear to help out Ted Musgrave. Ray?
Well, Amy, Jason Leffler doesn't need any kind of chassis change. He said the 2-truck has been great. These guys go to work. Blair Betts on the front, Jeremy West on the rear. Rick Pennington's the jack man. The gas is already in. They're set to go. And Leffler is going to be the first off of pit road. Now, Mike Bliss went up 1 pound of air in the right front tire. They put 4 tires and fuel on the number 16. Amy?
Man, this was an ugly-looking pit stop down here for the 29 of Terry Cook. They're in a championship hunt. They need to be practicing pit stops. They got a few in over the 3-week break, and it didn't prove to be good here. The rear of Dave Matei was so slow, I'm not even sure if he got all the lug nuts on that left rear, guys. We're going to have to check and see.
And a great pit stop for Ted Musgrave and company, Gene Neat and company. You heard about all those changes. Let's see what happened a moment ago here at Terry Cook's pit. And it looks like he might not have gotten them all on.
Looks like he'd reached down on the ground to get a lug nut. One had been knocked off, and looked like he didn't quite get it, didn't have time.
Boy, that could cost some valuable time for Terry Cook if he has to come back in, and the NASCAR official is standing there talking. We'll update you when we come back. Perfect timing as our NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series coverage continues from Richmond as the green flag waves. Jimmy Howell waving the green to Jason Leffler after the leaders have made their first pit stop of the day under the second caution flag of the evening.
It'll be interesting to see if any of these guys have improved their truck. They had a chance to make a pit stop to adjust the air pressure and wedge and track bar, things like that. So we'll see if any of these guys could have made a big improvement over what they had for the first 60 laps of the race.
Here comes a 17. That is Stacy Compton moving in on Travis Quapple.
This is the first race this year for Stacy in the truck. He ran this truck a few races last year. I think he finished in the top 10 every time he ran the truck.
He sat on the pole in his very last start at Phoenix in this truck last year, finished 4th, had a great run out at Phoenix, and now he's having a good run inside of Travis Quapple.
This is really the first opportunity they've had to adjust on these trucks, so we're gonna see a lot right now. We'll see here in about 10 or 12 laps who improved their vehicle.
Looks like Stacy has so far.
I'd say Stacy hasn't hurt his any for sure.
And here, how about Rick Crawford? I think the Rockin' Ray Stonkus and company might have helped Rick a little bit. You heard Ray Dunlap say that the 2 of Leffler didn't want any changes at all. His truck was good, but everyone else made some changes. And now Crawford is climbing in on him. Ray, look at what they do in their pits.
Well, Jerry, it was very minute changes for Crawford. Down a half a pound on the right rear, up a half a pound on the left rear. He was a little bit loose coming off, so they're hoping to fix that. Crawford hasn't said anything yet on the radio, but it looks like Harvick's giving him a pretty good challenge down in turn 1.
He was a lot loose coming off that corner.
I was just going to say the same thing. He was a lot loose right there a minute ago, and it's gave Kevin Harvick the opportunity to get beside him. But Harvick was almost by him once before, and Rick came back strong on the outside. We'll see what happens here.
Well, Rick Crawford has got some motor. Ernie Elliott engines come powering off the corners. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary where your favorite drivers were pitting, but were running before and after the pit stop. Pretty much a push there in the top 5.
That's pretty unusual, really. Usually guys will have trouble. Look at Terry Cook dropped from 6th to 11th. As Amy said, he had trouble. Stacey Compton gained a couple spots up to 6th from 8th. David Starr lost 5 spots, and Tony Stewart lost 6 spots.
And Tony had come all the way to the top 10, lost 6 spots on pit road during that pit stop. And let's show you what happened a moment ago to Rick Crawford as he was trying to make a move on the 2 truck.
Ray was talking about how loose he was here. Watch Rick, watch him now. Watch his hands. Whoa, he got a handful of steering wheel there.
Like he was swatting flies in there, and boy, we will have a caution flag in the 88. Matt Crafton is involved, and the 39, the Roto-Rooter Chevrolet for Steve Portengate. Bringing out caution for the 3rd time tonight. We'll come back in a moment and show you exactly what happened to bring out the yellow flag again with these 2 series regulars. We are under caution at Richmond International Raceway. There's the Roto-Rooter Chevrolet of Steve Portengate. Let's show you what happened a moment ago here on lap 71. Looked like Steve might have had a little help from behind.
Watch the very top of your screen to the right up here. Right in there. You're going to see some contact. Looked like from Coy Gibbs in the green truck, the 20 truck, ran into Steve Porton, turned Steve around, and he got into Matt Kraft and turned him around. Both of them made contact with the outside wall. It was kind of hard to tell, but it almost looked like he had a little help there.
There's a real good possibility of it. It's from the shots we got, it's really hard to tell. But if he did touch the 39, he got down awful quick, but it was big.
29 had a problem. We talked about they were concerned in their last pit stop. Let's check in their pits to see exactly what happened. Amy, what's the situation on the lug nuts?
Well, you know, guys, leave it to me to throw a crew under the bus, and I certainly did with Dave Matei. He did get all the lug nuts on, and the problem on that stop simply was that the left front tire from Ted Musgrave's truck rolled into the way of the left rear tire changer for Terry Cook, and that was Dave Matei. That messed him up and sent the sequence off. So Terry Cook was the big loser on that round of pit stops, but stick with us. We're under caution right now. The Action Track will be back with some green flag racing.
The green flag out once again after the third caution flag of the night, and it's a battle up front. Here comes Crawford roaring back, and Jason Leffler, if you just joined our coverage, was the pole sitter, has led all 75 laps. Rick Crawford trying to change that now out of turn 4.
Rick's doing all he can do right now to try to get by Jason Leffler, because I think he feels like if he could get out in front of him, Mike, then he could get some clean air and maybe drive away.
I'll tell you, these trucks love clean air, and the two trucks really proving that. Rick's tires, when they cool off a little bit, that thing for the first couple laps is pretty awesome.
And those are the words of our very special guest in the booth tonight, the 1996 winner of this race and the 1995 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, Mike Skinner, who's joining yours truly, Jerry Punch, along with Phil Parsons in the booth. We have Amy East and Ray Dunlap in the pits, and Brian Sockwell in the grass. As Brian slides down across the Monte Carlo 400 insignia, and there is no yellow flag.
Oh, there's going to be
now there is,
and now there will be.
Spinning over in 2, coming to the caution.
I think that old truck, there's a truck that we sold Brian a few years ago.
And now the caution will come out. The 70 truck, and what a great run Brian Ross had in the Bailey excavating machine. There is the Navy Ford of John Wood, and he has some damage on both the front and rear of that Jack Roush machine.
A lot of damage this time. He got by with very minimal damage when he made contact with Bill Lester, but not quite so fortunate this time. See Brian Sockwell right there, the 54 truck right in the middle of the screen. He just got a little bit sideways coming off the corner, jumped in the throttle, spun the wheels, and around he went. Did a great job of turning that truck to stay out of the inside wall.
He did an awesome job.
And here's what happened to bring out the caution flag. There's the Bailey excavating machine for Ross going around, and in that smoke somewhere comes John Wood, and he gets popped from the back and also runs into the back of Brian Ross.
It looked like the blue truck of Adam Clark probably pushed John up into it, but that's a chain reaction deal. You know, the first guy sees it, everyone behind him sees it a little bit later.
There's no question that one there wasn't John Wood's fault.
That's without a doubt.
And there is the Plymouth, Indiana driver, Brian Ross, in the pits, and there's the Navy colors of John Wood headed down pit road to Max Jones and Company to get some repairs on his machine. Back with more from Richmond in just a moment. Well, the battle for the Indy Racing League Championship has tightened up dramatically. Just 1 point separates teammates Jill LeFerrin and Elio Castro-Neves. And Sunday, the points race comes to Chicagoland Speedway for the Delphi Indy 300 live at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific on ABC. And it all begins at Indy Racing today at noon Eastern time on ESPN2. Let's check in the pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, they've taken a look at John Wood's Navy Ford here, and they've decided that there was a cracked 90-degree hose that went to the radiator. That was the problem, but they've decided that the best thing to do is go ahead and pull the radiator and put another one in so they don't have a problem later in the race. So they'll be behind the wall here for a bit.
And they'll try to get him back out on the racetrack. Jack Roush has had a truck win here in the past with Greg Biddle. Had two of them sit on the pole here with Ruttman and Bush. As you watch this battle, and a moment ago in break, Mike Skinner said Rick Crawford's pulling those tires, and he's going to make a run and get by.
He did this time,
and he got by.
We'll see how his truck does in clean air now.
He's loving this right now with these guys behind him running side by side.
And Harvick trying to hang on the inside as Crawford has gone by Leffler and now opened it up to about a 5-truck length lead.
Right now, Leffler's got to concern with Kevin Harvick on the inside, and that's allowing Rick Crawford to drive away. What a great shot right there from Jason Leffler's onboard.
Well, Harvick really got in the gas early right there, and that made the pass possible. Crawford's truck's a little bit better on the outside than the 2-truck was there.
And now they've opened the door. Harvick has gone by. Here is Mike Bliss, the points leader of the IWX Chevrolet, owned by Steve Coulter. And we'll see if he can make a run on the inside of Jason Leffler.
Well, that Joey Arrington horsepower carried him right off that 4th turn down the straightaway, didn't it?
Outstanding effort. And if you're looking for Rick Crawford, by the way, he is pulled away by 12 truck lengths. There is Crawford. And the word in the garage area is, Rick, they have not had a major sponsor on that truck this year, but there's a couple, 3 people looking at him. He said, if you can be impressive these last 7 events as you have been for the first 15, we will sign on the dotted line. And that's motivation enough for Rick Crawford.
That truck has been competitive, extremely competitive for the last 2 years, Doc, or last year and a half, last season and this season. So, again, we said last year he was going to win a race. And I'm telling you, got trouble.
Got trouble over the 15 truck. Brian Rose, the Perry Connection Ford. That's the Billy Ballou on machine, and the caution will not come out as Brian gets it righted, and we'll get it refired and headed, trying to stay in front of the leaders as Crawford just coming to the right side of your screen. There's the 14 truck of Rick Crawford, the Circle Bar Motel and RV Park 4. As we check in their pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, keep in mind that this is the 6th time that Rick Crawford has run here at Richmond. Last year he finished 5th here at this track, but he had never led a lap before tonight. So Crawford out front for the first time in his Richmond career.
And you see him going by the 15 truck that spun just a moment ago. We'll show you what happened to Brian Rose in the Perry Connection Ford here just a moment ago in turn 2.
See Brian on the inside of Adam Clark going down in turn number 1. Adam came down the racetrack, made contact. That didn't look the same as the John Wood, Bill Lester situation. They just ran out of racetrack right there. Adam came down a little bit. Brian was not way up the racetrack, but just enough that they made contact. And Brian was fortunate not to make any worse contact with Adam Clark.
That's just a racing deal there. Nothing you can say about that. You know, we were talking about Rick Crawford a while ago. Rick Crawford's not only got a good truck and a good race team. He's a good spokesman. He does really well with sponsors. I think he'd be a really good choice for somebody to help out.
Absolutely. Very popular among his peers, and he has paid his dues. And would love to be able to get a sponsor to run full-time next year here in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Good action here. Bobby Hamilton on the inside of Dennis Setzer.
Dennis is another guy that's really good at this racetrack. He's got a couple top 5 finishes at this racetrack in years past. Always runs well with his 46 truck on the short tracks especially.
Dennis is a racer. I'll tell you, him and I go back a long time. We had a lot of good races back at Caraway Speedway in the late model.
Whoa, and speaking of Caraway, that's what you have to do. You have to hang on, Dennis.
Sorry, Dennis. I'm sorry I said anything about you, buddy.
And he almost held on to it. Back in the throttle, had to turn hard to the right. It went around and caught the nose. And that will bring out caution for the 5th time tonight here as we approach the 100-lap mark here on lap 95.
Dennis got going. He's going to stay in the lead lap, but I know he's going to have to make some considerable repairs to that thing, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to stay in the lead lap with all the repairs he has to make. Tough break for Dennis Setzer.
Axiom Computer Associates Chevy. Let's see if we can see what happened here just a moment ago.
Watch the 60 truck of Travis Kvapil. They made a little contact right there as we talked, going in the corner.
He got Kvapil just a little bit right there, I'd say.
Dennis almost saved it. He jammed the throttle to keep it out of the outside wall, but the thing spun around on him and jumped forward into the inside wall. Watch the 60 truck. Watch the right front corner. A little bit of contact right there. Dennis came down the racetrack to take the normal groove, and Travis was there, had stuck his nose up in there a little bit. And for the 3rd time tonight, we've seen contact going in the corner.
That's just good hard racing, though. I mean, you can't hardly blame anybody for that. He's just racing hard and just made a little mistake there.
And 3 of Dennis Setzer's 7 career Craftsman wins have come on the short tracks where he is very, very good, but he is very battered right now as he has come on and off pit road down to Danny Gill. And Amy, what all they do down there?
Well, they just really pulled the sheet metal out on the front of that truck, and then they just sent Dennis back out. Meanwhile, we're seeing some of the leaders come down pit lane. The 29, a much better stop. He took right sides only this time, and they made a track bar adjustment that they originally wanted to make the last time. Ray Dunlap.
Amy, it'll be an air pressure adjustment on the right front for David Starr this time to try to make his truck a little bit looser. Here's the thing. These guys can go about 110 laps on fuel, so they needed to get past lap 90. These guys just pitted, and they don't expect to pit again. guys that stayed out there are going to have to pit again. So this may be a track position game that they just played.
And there is Tony Stewart in the 33 as he had the Monaco Coach Corporation Chevrolet for Andy Petrie. Tony making his second career start here in NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series. Made his first start August of '96 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. As we work caution for the 5th time tonight, Dennis Setzer has some contact, spins it around, and brings out the yellow flag. We'll have the green when we come back. For all the news and notes and motorsports, RPM Tonight coming up each weeknight, 6:30 Eastern Time. John Kernan and company, some of the hardest working folks in all of television, updating on what's happening in open wheel racing, drag racing, and of course NASCAR, stock cars, and stock trucks. RPM Tonight, 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific, coming your way tomorrow. For more, log on to ESPN.com. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, our special guest Mike Skinner in the booth. Amy East and Ray Dunlap covering the action on pit roads. We work caution for the 5th time tonight. And here comes Rick Crawford leading him down the green.
As the leaders take the restart, Dennis Setzer was on pit road. Dennis now is 1 lap down. He was not able to stay in the lead lap. Tough break for Dennis Setzer.
That really is.
And how about two guys that have never won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race up front? Crawford has won, but it's been 4 years. So it must feel like he's never won.
Rick probably feels like he has never won a race.
April 4th, 1998, just 113 races ago. And the guy behind him here, the Snap-on Chevrolet for Kevin Harvick, making his 74th start, and he is winless in this series.
We were talking about Rick Crawford before we had a caution flag. We said last year he was going to win the race, or at least I said, and I've said it again this year. And maybe tonight's the night, but he's got a lot of hungry guys behind him.
And the 51 in the wall, that is Carl Long out of Roxborough, North Carolina, the Revival Soy Dodge, one of the Rick Ware machines. Heavy damage. And Mike Skinner, it's hard to believe on a short track you can hit that hard, but look, that truck is folded up.
I tell you, I really hate that for Carl and, you know, Cal Northrup and all the guys. They work hard on them trucks right there. And they're really struggling trying to get a sponsor. I think they're going to try to make the Winston Cup race as well. But Carl's a good guy. He's a good little race driver. I hate that for him.
Pretty used up race truck there for Carl Long. He said likable young driver. Let's see if we can see what happened here on lap number 102.
Got a little sideways he's on the outside of Terry Cook. Got a little sideways getting in the corner, then got up in the loose stuff, and then again just got away from him.
He might have been up on that wheel just a little too much right there. That's a tough break for him. I tell you, he was sure trying.
Oh, he was.
Sure give him the E for effort.
And there's Carl out of the truck as the safety crews are there very quickly to check on him and the racetrack. And there comes the century record. You saw a moment ago, you saw Brendan Gaughan go by. As you see Carl taking his helmet off and being talked to by the crews. Brendan Gaughan in the Napa Dodge went about. We haven't mentioned Brendan much tonight. He started back in 30th spot and has driven that truck up into the top 15.
I tell you, Jerry, earlier on that first pit stop, he had a heck of a bad stop. The stop was good, but he couldn't get out of his pits. They had him blocked in there. It was really, I know he lost several spots, so he must have a pretty awesome truck.
And Mike Bliss is on pit road, Ray, headed toward you.
Well, they're going to put 4 tires and fuel on this thing, take a little bit of wedge out of the 16 truck. Bliss just said on the radio the same thing that I was talking about. He said, heck, if we pit right now, we're done. But they've got all kinds of fuel. The top is broken off the fuel can here, and they've got fuel spilled out all over the racetrack here. The guys are working here with a lot of fuel spilling out. Now let's check in with Amy.
Well, Robert Presley also is on pit lane. They were a little slow on the right side. It's hard to tell why. They're now to the left side. They got 4 tires and is now leaving pit lane.
So that could be the final pit stop for the Dickies crew. And there is the puddle in the 16 pit where the fuel, you heard Ray Dunlap say the top of the fuel can came off the dry brake, and it'll just pour out of there 11 gallons in a hurry.
That's a tremendous amount of fuel. You can pour 11 gallons out of a can in about 5 or 6 seconds, so it doesn't take long to make a big mess.
As they try to clean it up, we are under caution for the 6th time tonight. The machine of Carl Long, hard impact into the wall. Back with the green in a moment. And we welcome you back to Richmond International Raceway. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, our special guest, Mike Skinner, the inaugural NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, and now driver of the Kodak Chevrolet, soon to be the Kodak Pontiac, in NASCAR's Winston Cup competition. And Ray Dunlap and Amy East covering the action on pit road. This is the Virginia is for Lovers 200, sponsored by the Virginia Tourism Bureau. And so let's bring you up to speed here, just past the halfway point on what all has taken place here at the action track tonight. Hang on, folks. Early on, Jason Leffler, our pole sitter, pulls away to try to lead the first 40 or 45 laps. Looks to have the strong horse. Lap 7, Bill Lester in contact with the Navy truck of John Wood. Ends Lester's night. A tough night for the rookie. How about our leader in lap traffic? Gets a little hole in the grill up front for Leffler. How about Matt Crafton and Steve Portnoy? A couple of regulars coming together. Tough night for both those drivers. Ryan Sockwell tries to hang on, but can't quite. He takes a ride through the grass here on the front straightaway. And while he's riding sideways, we have trouble on the other end here with the 70 truck of Brian Ross going around, and he collects the 50 of John Wood. And now the tap from behind sends Setzer around, and the Axiom Chevy boom into the concrete. How about the 51? Way up, hang on, and he couldn't quite do it. Carl Long has a tough night. And here is our leader, Rick Crawford, from Mobile, Alabama. Folks, we're just halfway home.
Jerry, you must be out of breath after all that, Jerry. That was incredible.
That was pretty good.
Oxygen to the booth,
show us
guys.
that again?
I can't breathe. You guys talk a lot. That's how exciting and how thrilled we are to be a part of this series. And we are glad you at home are watching it. Hope you'll be able to come join us at a track near you with NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action. Rick Crawford trying to break the drought of 113 events.
Season best second. Our last race is about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You know, Rick said sometimes when he gets his truck close, he doesn't know exactly what to do. He'll tell Rock and Ray Strongest, just wave the magic wand over it, Ray.
Yeah. You know, Ray's only 50-some, but everyone says his experience is 105. He knows so much. How can you get so smart in so few years? Kevin Harvick not going to waste any time. Turn 1, here's Harvick going for the lead.
That Ron Hutter power ain't too shabby, is it?
Not at all. Harvick got the Hutter motor going on the inside. It's Ford up high. Chevy on the inside of Dodge third.
Mike, as you mentioned, Rick Crawford really has a good truck on the outside of the racetrack. When he's forced up high, he can really make it go on the outside.
Really gets a lot of momentum coming up off the corner, and that's short track racing. That's the key. He's got a beautiful line around the racetrack right now. There again, clean air. It has a lot to do with that. You know, if Harvick gets the opportunity to lead, we'll see. It seems like whoever's in the front, awfully hard to pass tonight.
Rick said his truck was really turning good in the single corner and had good forward bite, and that's critical here at Richmond.
And as you take a look at the front two, our third place truck is Jason Leffler. Let's check in his pits.
Well, Jerry, Jason had been complaining earlier that the water temperature went way up because they had that screen that was busted in. So the guys pulled some tape off the front end of his number 2 truck when they pitted the last time. And now Jason's been saying that the truck is a little bit snug. He feels like it'll get better longer in the run, but it is just a little bit tight for him right now. So that's why he hasn't been able to get up there and fight for the lead again.
He's got his teammate Ted Musgrave, the 1 truck, the Mopar truck, right behind him. Then Stacy Compton, the 17 truck, up in the top 5, right behind Ted Musgrave.
You know, I talked to Stacy Compton earlier today. He said, you know, we haven't been able to run much this year in the series. This is his first run, but he felt he was going to have a really good truck tonight. You see Stacy waving to fellow Winston Cup driver or veteran Bobby Hamilton behind him. They're using some hand signals, and these guys obviously both trying to make their way toward the front.
See right there, Stacy has 2 wins in the Craftsman Truck Series. Worked for David Hodson a few years ago. It's hard. Here we go, side by side. Bobby Hamilton got a good run off the corner on the inside. Going to beat Bobby down, or going to beat Stacy down into turn number 1 to take over the 5th position.
All right, let's check in Stacy's pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, here's one of the really nice sponsor plugs that some of these drivers get. Stacy Compton has Cabela's on the hood of that number 17, and this weekend, after he's done racing here at Richmond, he is on his way to Alaska to do some fishing. He said he's going to take his wife up there and just relax, sit back a little bit. They're going 400 miles rails up into the middle of nowhere. And guess what? Cabela's is paying for it.
Oh, you can't beat that. The sponsor, Duckhead Footwear, and Cabela's, a large sporting goods chain. And, you know, somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to go.
What a deal. I don't know why he don't take his old buddy Mike up there with him. You know,
how about Phil and Doc?
That's right.
All right, here's a pretty good battle as shaping up. Coy Gibbs continuing to run better and better in the MB&A Chevrolet. Has 2 third-place finishes this year, looking for that win, the first win in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks, as he and Robert Presley battle for the 14th spot.
It's a pretty good battle materializing for the lead here, it looks like.
And you see Presley going by the 07, and just the battle that Mike Skinner was talking about, as about a truck length separating Harvick and Crawford.
We saw Jason Leffler lead the early part of this race. He couldn't get away from Rick Crawford. Now Rick Crawford's got the lead. He can't get away from Kevin Harvick. So whoever's leading this race cannot get away from these guys.
I'll tell you, Harvick's truck just looks so awesome down there on the bottom. I'm not positive that's the fastest line right now.
And here's the battle shaping up for 4th position. A couple of veteran drivers, and Ted Musgrave, who has run here 22 times in Winston Cup racing, and behind him is Bobby Hamilton and the Square D Dodge, which he owns.
Ted has a third-place finish in the Winston Cup Series, so an excellent run at Richmond. I think it was all the way back in 1996, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, he won both poles here in Winston Cup in 1994. Talking about Ted Musgrave, he has 5 career Winston Cup poles. 2 of those came at this racetrack, so very good on this 3/4 mile D-shaped oval.
I'm not sure that Hamilton's truck isn't pretty darn sporty. It's just there, it's in that traffic. It's not in that clean air.
Well, action continuing here. Remember, 4 of the 7 times they've raced here, the finish has been less than a second apart. Stay tuned. College football coming your way on Friday night on ESPN, 7 Eastern time, 4 Pacific. How about the Rainbows of Hawaii coming across the pond to take on the Cougars of BYU at LaVell Edwards Stadium out in Provo, Utah? Could this be a payback game? Last year, the Rainbows stopped a 12-game winning streak, hung 72 points up against BYU, and took them down out in Hawaii. The Cougars want some revenge. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern time on ESPN. There's Kenny Schrader, the Federated Auto Parts Chevy. Terry Cook right behind him as they are in 8th. That's 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th there. You see behind him is the David Starr and then Tony Stewart. So 4 pretty talented drivers running right together here at lap 124. Well, if you were to award points as of right now, we told you how close the series was. We had the top 5 were at 100 points apart coming in. We all catch our breath here watching that truck slide.
It's a big-time contact between Tony Stewart and David Starr.
What a job by David Starr, I'm telling you. He earned his keep right there.
Every other time we've seen that, we've saw trucks into the wall.
He did one fantastic job holding on to that 75.
Sorry, Jerry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I jumped too. Let me get down off my stool here and get back to work. As we watch this battle here, we told you that Rick Crawford, if they were to award points as of right now, he would be the big gainer. Crawford would move up in the 2nd spot in front of Terry Cook and ease in on Mike Bliss.
We got people just sneaking along. You know, Hamilton's kind of snuck up there into the 4th spot. Tony Stewart, he's coming up there. He's coming up into the 10th spot now, right behind Terry Cook. So we got a couple of guys just kind of quietly getting to the front.
Tony Stewart, the 1999 Rookie of the Year, won his very first Winston Cup event at this racetrack. He's a 3-time winner here, as he won here in the spring in NASCAR's Winston Cup effort. So driving the Home Depot Pontiac for Joe Gibbs and company. Tonight driving the Monaco Coach Corporation Chevy for Andy Petrie.
It's an 8th place driver right there in front of them. Ken Schrader to 52, the Federated Auto Parts truck. Tony's giving Terry all he wants right now. Just can't quite make the pass.
Yeah, Kenny just kind of quietly snuck up into the top 10 as well. Tony's just like all of a sudden he decided to mash the gas and come on.
Remember now, a lot of these guys are going to have to make pit stops yet. We know Mike Bush is not going there, or the guys that stopped about. Look at there.
Look at there.
3 wide.
How about Tony Stewart on the inside? It's Schrader in the middle and Cook up high. Cook's got to worry about those points. He's second in the standings. And what a job by Tony Stewart to make the pass and take the spots away.
Did you see that experience by Ken Schrader that he backed off? He said, this is not a good situation. Let me get out of here. Let me save this truck, and then I'll try to pass
because I own this truck, and I'm paying the bills.
That was a heck of a racer getting passed by another heck of a racer. Both them boys.
Absolutely.
They, on their weekends off, they don't fish. They go race somewhere.
And that'll put Tony Stewart up in the 8th spot. And we told you, Tony, 15-time Winston Cup winner, 129 starts, 36 in the Busch. He never won a Busch Series event. Making his second start ever in NASCAR's Craftsman truck. Started at IRP. He had a top 10 finish there, dropping for Mike Midler. Told you about the 15 Winston Cup wins, 3 this year. He won at Atlanta, Richmond, and Watkins Glen. His latest win coming on the road course for Joe Gibson Company in the Home Depot Pontiac. Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, before the race, I talked to Ed Kennedy down in the 33 pits. Now, he's the president of Monaco Coaches, and he said if they win this race tonight, he's got to give his Rolex to crew chief Jimmy Eldridge. And I said, well, let me let you in on a little secret. I got a fake $15 Rolex that I bought in New York City. And he said, hey, dude, if we get to victory lane, run in there and hand it to me, will you?
The deception continues.
Hey, right now, Doc, Tony Stewart's in the 8th position. He is the best running truck of all the guys that have pitted in their window that can make it the rest of the way. So all the guys in front of him are going to have to stop again. We know for sure.
I don't know. I'm pretty proud of Jimmy Elledge for cutting that deal. I think that's pretty smart. I want a Corvette like that one time. Went to Japan, and they didn't think we were going to win, and we ended up winning.
That's a pretty good deal. And Mr. Childers had to provide a Corvette?
Yeah, he sure did.
How about that? Good for you, RC, paying up on that deal there.
Well, I think Larry McReynolds helped us with that. I think he had Richard shamed into, hey, you going to buy that boy's car or what?
Larry taking good care of you.
Larry always took care of it.
As always. Good action here up front, and it's heating up. Crawford trying to hold on, and Kevin Harvick has done everything but to put the turn signal on. He's up high, he's up low, he's on the inside.
This is the first time I've seen him off the bottom of the racetrack all night. Maybe he's kind of figured out, wow, this thing's pretty good up there.
As you watch this battle stabilize momentarily, let's check in where Amy is caught up with the driver who's out of the race.
Well, I sure have, Jerry. And the last time we saw that up to speed, the last crash was that of Carl Long. Carl, you were on the outside there. It looked like up to 29. Simply went away and went into the wall. What happened?
Getting into the corner on new tires, my truck was a little bit loose, and we kind of banged sides a little bit with somebody. I don't think it was your other half, but just got me up out of the groove a little bit getting into the corner. The back end got out from under me. I hate it happened. We had a really good truck tonight. Run rail for Rick Ware, Revival Soy, the people that came on board to help us in our cup efforts, and just here trying to get some laps in so we can make that race tomorrow.
All right, well, that was Carl Long, you guys. It looks like we've got quite a battle for the lead shaping up.
Indeed we do, Amy, as Harvick is doing everything he can. And if you're wondering maybe why Kevin Harvick and Bobby Hamlin, some of these guys are running this race, they told me in the garage area, this is the same tire that'll run on the Busch Series and Winston Cup cars this weekend. And it helps them to know what the racetrack's going to do, what this tire is going to do. And by the way, everyone was bragging about how great a tire Goodyear has here. It's the same tire they had here in the spring.
It's an excellent tire. It's a little bit different tire than the Truck Series raced here last year. And as you mentioned, 4 guys broke the track record. They broke the track record by 2-3 tenths of a second. So this is an awesome tire for this racetrack.
It's like someone finally, like Spotter said, hey, Kevin, get that thing off the bottom of the racetrack. When he took that thing off that line down there, it really got going. And we got a heck of a race going on right now for the lead. These guys in the Truck Series, man, they race every lap. It's been like that since the deal started.
Absolutely. Great action at the action track. Great passes. What did Kenny Schrader see a moment ago? How about one Tony Stewart taking the Monaco ride by? Back with the final laps in a moment. How about some Major League Baseball action coming your way tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern Time? The D-backs head out to San Francisco to take on the Giants. What a good one that should be. Barry Bonds and company. Major League Baseball Friday night action, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And Meanwhile, we got a little bit of a change up front. How about Kevin Hollywood Handsome Harvick now showing the way? Let's show you what happened just a moment ago.
He's been working that outside. As we saw earlier, Rick Crawford was so good on the inside for the last 10, 15 laps. Kevin's been working that outside. Mike and I were talking about it. He's found something up there, and there he was. He was able to make the pass, and now starting to drive away a little bit.
I tell you, he's as soon as he got off the bottom of that racetrack, that truck just came alive. It is really going.
Those are the words of our analyst, Phil Parsons, and, of course, Mike Skinner joining us as a special guest in the booth. Alongside Phil and I, I'm Jerry Punch. We got Amy East and Ray Dunlap down in the pits as we watch this battle, this bumping battle for 11. Looking back from Kenny Schrader's onboard, great onboard shots from Kenny Schrader's Federated Auto Parts Chevy. That's Mike Bliss in the IWX Chevy, our points leader. Well, let's check in where Amy, I think, has a little medical update on Matt Crafton, who was involved in an incident earlier tonight.
I sure do, Jerry. And for those Matt Crafton fans, we wanted everybody to know that we waited at the care center to get a word with Matt. And then, fortunately, they have transported him to a local Richmond hospital for some precautionary measures because his foot could possibly be broken. We did not get indication if that was left or right foot, but a lot of foot pain for Matt Crafton. So his father, Danny Crafton, wanted to let us know that they're taking him to a local Richmond hospital simply for precautionary measures and to check if indeed one of his feet is broken. Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, keep in mind that I went down to talk to Dave Fuse Jr., the crew chief on the 16, and asked him if they can make it all the way. He said, yeah, absolutely. They got enough fuel. And I said, yeah, but what about all that fuel that's spilled out there on the pit road? He said, we're not worrying about that. We think we got enough, and if we don't, at least the driver thinks we do.
It didn't look like there was a lot of urgency going on. When I seen, they spilt the gas, and then when we went to them, they were just kind of casually walking away from the truck. So I think they must have got enough fuel.
They might even have got it full. Just spilled some gas because they had 2 gas cans available. So then, the thing broke off one of the gas cans, and they had pitted at lap 60. So he'd only gone about 35 laps. So they needed only less than 1 can of fuel to fill it up. So I think he probably got it full.
Right.
Well, you folks watching at home be the first to know, along with us, if they didn't get it full, because in about 25 laps, we'll start slowing down. Take a look still on top, Mike Bliss, our latest winner, winning from the pole at Nashville Superspeedway back early in August 3 weeks ago. Has 4 wins, 2 poles this year. Has led 9 races. Has held the points lead after the last 3 events. So Mike in the IWX Chevrolet. Great job by that race team and keeping him up front, top the standings. Made some pretty good calls at Nashville to be able to get him in for 4 tires late and won him the race.
Not to be biased or anything, Jerry, but I'd sure like to see it be a Chevrolet weekend.
I'm sure you don't want to be biased.
Truck, yeah. And, Monte Carlo on Saturday night. One with a 4 with Kodak on it would be really good.
Hey, folks, that's Mike Skinner who's joining us, and of course drives the Kodak Chevrolet for the Morgan McClure race team. Drives for a great family, the Morgan family and the McClure family, long time involved in the sport. They're just awesome people, very highly thought of by everybody in the NASCAR family.
And we got Yosemite Sam riding with us this weekend, so I got kind of a mascot. We won the golf cart race last year, but we didn't seem to figure out a way to get a Monte Carlo into victory lane. Hopefully that'll change. We got some smoke, big smoke coming from somebody here, the 46.
Yeah, Dennis Setzer involved in an incident earlier, and in rubbing that left front tire as he goes in the corner, they came in and tried to pull a finish. Well, I think he's had some additional damage.
I think
something else has happened. Yeah, it's cutting in there pretty good.
It wasn't smoking like that earlier, so he must have run into another truck. But I'll tell you, Doc, we're on lap 157. A lot of these guys up front pitted on lap 60. They've almost run 100 laps. So if we don't get a caution in the next 10, 15, 20 laps, a lot of these guys are going to be in a world of hurt.
If Dennis don't get a caution pretty soon, he's going to be the caution.
Left front's rubbing pretty bad, then.
Yeah, you heard that onboard communication talking to Setzer about how...
You want to stop? I'd be scared not to, Dennis. It's probably on top of the tire, the way the figure is, on the flat part. Okay? How bad to get there?
That's communication back and forth to Dennis Setzer as you watch Bobby Hamilton, our 3rd place truck.
Mike and I both in these stops up here. Yeah. We don't want to see a left front tire blow out there because they're rubbing a hole in it. So Dennis needs to, looks like he might need to bring that thing on in, because he's already out of contention because of that earlier accident. this is being shown a couple laps down, so he needs to straighten that thing out.
You can tell he's backed off of it a little bit, and that's made it not rub as much. But hopefully he's either got the sheet metal knocked out of the way, or he will stop before that thing blows one of them Goodyear tires.
There's a look at Dennis Setzer, 7-time winner in NASCAR Craftsman trucks. One win this year at Martinsville in this truck, and having some troubles here tonight. As the laps are winding down, it'll be 40 to go next time by. And ESPN, the worldwide leader, bringing you exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from the action track, Richmond International Raceway. We are down to less than 40 laps to go, and Kevin the Kid Harvick out of Bakersfield, California, reigning Busch Series champion, reigning Ray Vestas Winston Cup Rookie of the Year, back running in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks for his 4th time this year. In fact, his last outing, he dominated, led the most laps at New Hampshire. We're talking about Harvick. Had trouble with fuel. Ended up finishing in the top 10 and 8th spot. And there's a look at Tony Stewart, who looked like he might have one of the trucks to beat. Tony all the way up in 6th position, and the caution is now being shown to the field. And there are a lot of drivers who are breathing a sigh of relief right now because of this debris caution. Apparently debris coming off the Napa Auto Parts Dodge.
Kenny Schrader's onboard camera watched Brendan Gaughan there behind him. Just went by the start-finish line. Went down in the corner, going to make some contact with the outside wall. Yeah, don't know exactly what happened.
He locked that left front wheel up there. Felt like Phil, and that thing just got in the corner too hard there.
Might have run up on Kenny a little bit faster than he thought, and jabbed the brakes on, and when the front wheel started sliding, then he just went straight.
Right. It's a fine line between getting them things slowed down, and if you slide the tire, you really carried too much momentum in it.
Well, the pits are open. Here comes Harvick and company down to Ed Barrier. Rock and Ray Stonkus waiting on Rick Crawford as we check in on pit stops. First, let's go down to Amy East.
Well, Jerry, one of those teams that did breathe the sigh of relief with that caution was Ted Musgrave. They were within 10 laps of having to make a green flag stop. Ted says that he can't get the front to stick. Remember, that thing's been chattering all night. They're going to raise the track bar and give him 4 fresh Goodyears. Ray Dunlap.
Wait a minute, they get ready to go to work on Kevin Harvick's truck. This is his good wrench crew right here. Jason Pulver is the front tire changer. Clint Pittman is on the rear. And as we look over to the 14, we see over here that Rick Crawford is also getting his service. These guys go to work. Cal Brophy has it all done up on the left front there. And we also see that he's going to lose some spots here on pit road for the 14.
Once again, caution coming out of lap 165. Brendan Gaughan involved with a little shunt with the wall and some debris flying off. The safety crews are on the racetrack picking up some of that sheet metal. As we go back to the Terry Cook pits and update his stuff. Amy?
Well, back on lap 95, Terry Cook came down and took 2 right side tires and made a track bar adjustment. So they decided to come back now and take 2 left sides. So while other teams took 4, Terry took 2 left side tires and picked up some spots on pit lane.
And the 33 of Tony Stewart stayed out. He did not have to pit again, and had the caution not come out, I think Tony Stewart might have had the truck to beat here, guys. But now with the caution coming out, he's on old tires, and they're on new tires, and it could get ugly when the green flag comes back out in a moment. But it will definitely be exciting. Stay with us. Back in a moment.
NASCAR Winston Cup race, Tony Stewart wins at Richmond International Raceway.
It was here under the lights on September 11th, 1999 that Tony Stewart won his first Winston Cup race, thus culminating a spectacular rookie season. But another first for Stewart came back in 1996 in front of his hometown fans. Tony made his first Craftsman Truck Series start at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Driving the number 4 Chevrolet owned by the Midler brothers, he started 9th and wrapped up the night with a 10th place finish. And tonight, the Rushville Rocket from Indiana is atop the leaderboard here in the final 30 laps, getting ready to be run here at the Virginia is for Lovers 200 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event. Stewart has older tires. The guys I got to ask you, is he a sitting duck? He was running pretty well.
It's hard to say.
Let's look at our Craftsman's points leaders and where they're running right now. And Stewart gets a pretty good jump over the 75 truck of David Starr. Pulls him by about 5 truck lengths.
David jumped in the throttle, spun the tires sideways, and that allowed Tony to get a big jump. Now David's hung up behind a lap truck, so Tony's going to end up with a 6-8 truck length lead in just 3/4 of a lap.
If he can get out there on them, you know, it's the guys in new tires, I think, are going to definitely be better. If he can get out there and they have to fight traffic, and it stays green, we'll just have to see what happens.
Well, Mike, he has older tires, but he has clean air to race in. That makes a difference on these tracks.
You know, we've talked a lot about clean air tonight. It's pretty golden, and we'll just have to see watch the lap times and see how much of an advantage he gets here the next few laps. That 16 looks like it's coming pretty good too.
He's got a little bit of a buffer too, because this right here, this Jason Leffler, this is the first guy that has fresh tires. He's in the 6th position, so the top 5 guys all stayed out. Jason Leffler was the first of the guys that pitted and put some tires on.
And Leffler now hung on the inside between behind Coy Gibbs, and he has a lap truck in front of him. That's the 86 truck up there of Lance Hooper. And there is the 20, the MB&A Chevy of Gibbs, who's in 5th spot. Actually, that's 4th position. And here goes the 29 by Leffler on the outside, Terry Cook.
For every lap that Jason gets hung behind these lap trucks or these floor trucks is really hurting him, because Tony Stewart's got clean racetrack and driving away.
I'll tell you, David Starr and Mike Bliss are both, they're holding on pretty good. He's not really running away from him.
I'll show you some speeds at the line as they come by. There you see the quickest thus far. Hey, Tony Stewart not doing a bad job on old tires. Still the quickest truck we clocked that time by. But then again, he didn't have traffic. He's in clean air and no one to worry about slowing down.
Yeah, a lot of these trucks in major traffic right now, so that's slowing them down a little bit. We need to see what happens when these trucks get clear of this traffic and see what happens.
That 75 truck ain't too bad either. He's right in there within a 10 or less.
There's Terry Cook, the 29 truck with the fastest lap that time. Tony's still the 2nd quickest lap among all these guys.
I tell you, Tony is driving the wheels off that Monaco Coach Chevy for Andy Petrie. What a great performance as you watch Terry Cook. Now he's pedaling for all he's worth. And Ted Musgrave, we hear he may have a problem. Is he slowing a little bit?
He's dropped a number of positions right there. Ted's down to the 15th position. He started the race up in the top 10, so he's definitely have some sort of a problem, or got hung up in some traffic and maybe got knocked out of the groove.
Meanwhile, battle for 7th spot. Here's Kevin Harvick and the Chevy inside the Dodge. Team ASC CartWest Dodge, they are side by side 4th position. Harvick in 7th spot, Leffler in 8th. Now it's Leffler in 7th and Harvick in 8th.
Great shots out of Jason Leffler. It's Leffler's onboard camera. Remember, the outside group is not necessarily the poorer of the 2 groups, because we've seen Kevin Harvick and Rick Crawford really make the outside group work for him.
Really have, and you know, it seems like on new tires you want to be down there, but Tony just keeps getting faster and faster, and the 75 and the 16 are just right with him. They run a lot faster than I thought they would on those tires.
Well, with 20 laps to go, if we don't get a caution flag, they're going to be hard-pressed to run down one Tony Stewart. He is just taking a hike. He's got him by a straightaway. You watch this battle here among those drivers who have come in and changed tires. Coy Gibbs hanging tough in the middle of the racetrack, running well out there in the MB&A Chevy.
He's another one of the guys that didn't stop. He got a little bit high that time and allowed Terry Cook and Kevin Harvick to get by, and allowed Jason Leffler to get up on the inside of him. 3 wide.
Oh, boy.
And Leffler backs out of it, and he backs into it now as Crawford goes by, then Leffler, then Gibbs.
What a great move by Rick Crawford. He got Jason Leffler and Coy Gibbs side by side. Some contact right there. Coy Gibbs and Jason Leffler. Rick Crawford was able to take advantage of them being a little bit slower because they were side by side and passed them both.
Here goes Harvick by Terry Cook. He's on a mission. He knows what Tony's doing out there, and he knows he's got to go if he's got a chance.
Now, a year ago, Kevin Harvick came on in the final 15 laps of this one and ran down Jack Sprague, who had dominated the night by leading 196 laps. And Harvick caught Sprague and passed him with 4 laps to go. And Sprague passed him right back, and the shootout was on. Harvick on the move. Does he have enough time? Does he have enough laps?
We got a similar situation to last year. He had a little better tires last year than Jack Sprague did. Had a little fresher tires, and Jack Sprague was able to get back by him and win it.
And we are known for close finishes at Richmond. Take a look. Terry Labonte over Jeff Bodine. Labonte went from the pole. How about a year ago? 62 hundredths of a second. Sprague over Harvick. Closest in series history involved our guest today, Mike Skinner. It's going to be tied here in the final laps at Richmond. Stay tuned. Getting set for what could be a fabulous finish here at Richmond International Raceway. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, our special guest Mike Skinner, Amy East, and Ray Dunlap in the pits. Here's the scenario, 12 laps to go, and Tony Stewart trying to hang on. But these charges coming from the middle of the pack and now the front of the pack as they are trying to move in. Kevin Harvick on the move.
Doing a beautiful job.
There's David Starr and our points leader Mike Bliss in second and third.
Mike would love to get up on the outside of David Starr. Let's look at the speeds at the line again. There we go. Of the top 3 trucks, Tony Stewart. Look at Kevin Harvick, the 4th place truck. Does he have enough time? He's the quickest truck that lap.
And now Bliss looks to the high side. Can't make it. Pulls back in line behind David Starr.
I don't think he had enough room on the outside. That's why he pulled back in.
I tell you, David Starr's doing a heck of a job holding him off right now.
It's really allowing Tony Stewart to open up this advantage because they were within a half a second 2 or 3 laps ago, and now he's got a little bit over a second lead. So these guys racing so hard is really helping Tony Stewart.
If the caution don't come out, it's looking awfully good for Tony Stewart right now. Anything can happen with 10 to go in the Craftsman Truck Series.
And particularly at this racetrack, which they've nicknamed the action track for very good reason. Here's Bobby Hamilton on the inside of Terry Cook.
Good side-by-side race for the 6th position. See the brakes blowing.
Caution.
And up across the racetrack is one truck into the wall, and the caution flag waves with less than 10 laps to go. And that is not what Tony Stewart wanted to see. Adam Clark, driving for Petty Enterprises, has come around and tagged the wall. Got it going again, but the caution came out. They waved the yellow flag. Jimmy Howell, and that will bring out the caution for the 8th time tonight.
I bet you Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick's a happy guy right now.
I guarantee he is, and they sure build excitement here at Richmond, don't they?
Show you what happened a moment ago to Hurricane Clark. That's his nickname up in turn 4. Just went around on him.
Well, he's on the outside of Brian Sockwell. Looked like Brian got in the corner a little bit too hard, locked the brakes up as we talked earlier. When he did, his truck went straight, made contact with Adam, and sent Adam around into the wall.
And look at this Goodrich crew. I think they're pretty excited about the fact that the caution came. I say, you know what? We got a shot at him now. We're coming.
We know Kevin's good at this racetrack too. You know, we talked about him finishing second in this race last year. He finished second in the Winston Cup race this same weekend last year. So he had 2 seconds this weekend 1 year ago.
That boy just made his Christmas card list. I can promise you that.
Glenn started real early, and they didn't say anything about it, so be ready for that one.
And he wants to try to win in all 3 divisions. He would like to be able to be a winner. He's already a winner in Busch Series competition. He's won in Winston Cup. Here are the guys who have won in all 3 of NASCAR's major touring series. Bobby Hamilton, of course, has 2 Truck Series wins. Terry Labonte won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck event here at Richmond. Mark Martin won at North Wilkesboro. Boy, I missed that racetrack. And Kenny Schrader won at the now defunct Saugus Speedway back in 1995. Those 4 drivers have won in all 3 of NASCAR's major touring divisions, Busch Cup, and of course the Craftsman Truck Series.
Sure would like to add to that list this weekend. Well, they've got 2 out of the 3, and they won't count Japan. I keep trying to get them to do that.
Be our guest. We would love to see that for you.
Good.
Little Kodak Chevy weekend for the Monte Carlo.
Love to win for Monte Carlo before we go to the Pontiac section.
You know, it worked for Greg Bethel. He was in the booth with us a couple times in Milwaukee this year and last year, and he went out and won the race the next day, so it could work for you.
I'll come every week if you promise that'll work.
Hey, let's check into Harvick pits, so where Ray Dunlap is standing by with the crew chief.
Well, that's Gil Martin, Jerry, and you guys were praying for the caution. You got your wish. Now is your man going to be able to do it?
Well, I tell you, this Kevin Harvick Snap-on-Tool Chevrolet has been plenty fast tonight. And I mean, those other guys have got a little older tires than us, and hopefully they'll wash up and we can drive up under them.
Is it enough laps?
It's going to be close right here. I mean, we've been about 3/10 a lap faster for the last 20 laps right there, so hopefully we'll get that thing up and get it going.
Okay, good luck.
All right, Kevin Harvick. Here's the scenario, folks. He's never won in this series. 74 starts. His fourth start of the year. He came close a year ago here. Made a pass with a couple of laps to go. Got passed back by Jack Sprague. 62 thousandths of a second was a separation at the checkered flag. And Harvick finished second by 4.5 feet. He remembers that.
The problem could be that 75 and that 16.
All right, here we go.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Tony Stewart. Can Stewart hang on in the Chevy? Here comes David Starr. He's never won in the Truck Series. And Harvick already jumped to the inside of Mike Bliss in turn 1.
Mike Bliss got a horrible start and allowed Kevin Harvick to jump on the inside. Let's see if Kevin can clear him going on down into turn number 3.
Looked like Ron Hornaday driving that 33 when they started the race there.
He was long gone when that green was waving, talking about Tony Stewart.
Okay, Bliss is hanging right in on the outside. I thought Kevin would be able to blow right by him, but I'm not sure he's even going to be able to pass him, Doc.
And that's the points leader, Mike Bliss. That's Harvick on the inside, side by side, as Chevy's trying to get it done. 4 Chevrolets at the front of the field. They're moving in on David Starr, but it'll be 3 laps to go, and Tony Stewart is hanging on.
And he's loving this side-by-side battle with Kevin Harvick and Mike Bliss. He's absolutely loving it.
David Starr's loving it, too, with 3 to go.
There he goes. Kevin Harvick got one. He got Mike Bliss. 3 laps to go. 2 trucks to pass.
Does he have enough time? Can he make a quick move on the 75 and Starr? And then does he have the time in a lap and a half or 2 laps and a half now to catch Tony Stewart? Here goes the move on Starr for second.
Here he goes right now on the inside. He's got to do it now. He's running out of time, Mike.
I don't think he's got enough time, boys.
And Harvick driving for all he's worth. Starr up across the racetrack.
Lock that brake up. Lock that left front up. Cost him about 3 or 4 spots.
White flag for Tony Stewart. 1 lap to go. And the young man from Rushville, Indiana, up across the wall, up across the racetrack, goes a couple of trucks. Starr is involved. 3 and 4 trucks involved in turn 2. Here comes Tony Stewart. He won his very first Winston Cup event here in September of '99, and he will win in only his second ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. Tony Stewart, a winner at Richmond International Raceway.
Darn Harvick just keeps coming up just a split.
See David Starr against the outside wall there. Got some point ramifications. There's Jason Leffler. We saw there's Travis Quapple. Big wreck on the last lap down his turns 1 and 2.
That was a tough break for David Starr. It looked to me like Hamilton just went in there and stuffed him. I don't know what happened. We'll just have to look at the replay.
Brendan Gaughan, our Napa Dodge leading Rookie of the Year contender, also heavily damaged down there. All happening on the white flag. You see Brendan getting the helmet off.
Robert Presley also involved. There's Robert Sticky's truck right there. A lot of damage.
And that could significantly shape up our points, change our point standings there in the final laps. As you see the carnage down there in turns 1 and 2. And there's Jason Leffler in the Team ASC CarQuest Dodge. Jason credited now with a 12th place finish.
Tremendous amount of damage to that CarQuest Team ASC Dodge right there.
And there's a 75 of David Starr. What a job he did at the Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet, trying to hang on to that second spot.
That save he made earlier was pretty remarkable, but I don't believe he could. This one here was a little more than he could handle.
Here's what happened here on the white flag lap down in turns 1 and 2.
There's David. He tried to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. Wow, hard contact with Bobby Hamilton on the outside. He tried to get down in between those 2 trucks. Wasn't able to make it. Got contact with Bobby Hamilton that sent him spinning, sent Bobby Hamilton straight into the outside wall, and here all these trucks had nowhere to go. Tremendous amount of damage to a lot of these trucks.
Tough break for a lot of the guys in the points, you know. That's a bad deal right there, but anything can happen. They guarantee excitement here at Richmond, and they surely got their money's worth tonight.
Well, the trucks involved again, Starr, Bobby Hamilton, the Napa Dodge of Brendan Gaughan, Robert Presley, Jason Leffler, Travis Quapple, Bobby Donner also involved. And take a look at Jason Leffler's viewpoint from the onboard camera.
Bobby Hamilton, right, watch Bobby Hamilton's going to clip Jason. Hard contact right there. And Jason's going to get hit again. He got hit again. He got hit yet again by Bobby Dotter. There's Kenny Schrader, the 52 Federated Autobug trucks on the inside.
Now right along with Kenny Schrader's onboard camera.
When he sees all this carnage happening in front of him, he goes high. He's going to try to get by these guys. Looks like he's got it cleared. Ted Musgrave spins around right in front of him, makes contact with Ted.
Schrader had it all missed.
Very, very disappointing for a lot of drivers, and indeed one of those, the Cat Rental Chevrolet driver, Travis Quapple, David Starr, who had a magnificent evening. And there's the Dickies Dodge driver, Robert Presley, able to muster somewhat of a smile and wave to some of the fans here in the stands. And one driver who is not disappointed, how about Tony Stewart in victory lane, only his second ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. We'll talk to Tony when we come back. Coverage of exciting NASCAR Craftsman truck action from Richmond International Raceway has been brought to you by the Federated Auto Parts professionals in your neighborhood. By Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Craftsman, the official tool of NASCAR and NHRA, celebrating 75 years of making anything possible. How about some dependable Chevy trucks? Let's go down where Amy East is standing by with our winner.
And how about this, a familiar sight, Tony Stewart in victory lane at Richmond, but in a truck? Yeah, that's right. Tony Stewart's made only 2 appearances in the Truck Series, a 10th at 1996 at IRP, and a win 6 years later at Richmond. Stu, you are the man. We've done this victory lane before in USAC, but I never thought I'd interview you at a truck race. What was that all about?
I wanted to witness so bad because I wanted to get on the deck lid back there and find out what Bliss thought was so cool about it. So, you know, I got to thank Monaco and JD Byrider and, you know, everybody at Indy Feature Racing gave me a great truck today. It was just an awesome day for us.
And remember, what was the only thing you wanted out of this? The trophy, right?
That's right. All I want is a trophy. These guys at Indy Feature Racing worked so hard trying to get the ARCA car ready for Monday, and I let them down a little bit and finished second there, but we got them win tonight.
All right, Tony Stewart in victory lane in a truck, you guys, right?
Yeah, and that's Mike Bliss. Last time we were on a last lap crash, you were in it, but tonight you made it through.
Yeah, thank God we were in front of it. We had a good truck today. This IWX Chevy was real good. Real good on the high side, but not real good on the bottom. And, you know, I kind of kicked myself in the rear. One time I had the 75 pass and got a little pinched, and I knew Harvick was coming with tires. I knew he was going to do some damage, so I thought, go ahead. You know, he's not in it for points. He doesn't care, and he wants to win. So I figured, I'll let him go and see what he does.
And it was a good night in points for Mike Bliss.
Indeed it was. You take a look at the unofficial results here of the Virginia is for Lovers 200. We told you they call it the action track, and now you know why. What an outstanding finish, and what an incredible run by Tony Stewart here in only his second ever start, and his first in 6 years in this series.
Doc, we say these finishes are less than a second, 0.3 of a second, less than 0.3 of a second for the win.
And still 118 points separating the top 5 as we have 6 events left in the closest point battle we've ever had in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Mike Skinner?
I'll tell you, that's great. You know, both the point leaders didn't have too bad a night. They came out of this thing pretty good, 3rd and 5th. So it's going to be a heck of a thing right down to the finish.
Well, for Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, Amy East, and our special guest, Mike Skinner, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating Tony Stewart on his win tonight here in Richmond. We invite you to join us next at Texas Motor Speedway for the Silverado 350 next Friday night on ESPN2. Coming up next is Summer X Games. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Once again, congratulations to Tony Stewart. He's a winner in trucks tonight at Richmond.